Labor. The labor markets are incredibly, important for India because that's one of India's biggest resource, people. So we just have to get people to work in things that they're good at, get people, firms to find ways of employing people who are, useful for them. So that labor market has to be, much smoother functioning, state than it is right now. So we have a preponderance. Our problem is that most firms don't want to hire people and grow, so they stay small. And the reason for staying small often is the fact that they cannot let go of people. So there are lots of constraints on letting people. And what India needs is so therefore the landscape is kind of full of smaller firms employing 20 or fewer or 100 or fewer. And so traditionally this used to be a major issue because because people would not want to grow beyond those thresholds, because your desire to hire someone is crucially linked to your ability to fire that person if the match doesn't work out. The labor market is really a matching game between employers and employees, and so like any match, it may not work, and sometimes it works. So you have to have separation rules in place that you have to allow a match to fail. And that's where the exit, whether you can separate from a match that isn't working becomes very important. If I fear that I won't be able to separate, I really don't want to, enter into that match either. And that's partly has been a big reason why Indian firms remain small. And small comes with productivity costs that, you don't get any of the benefits of scale. So for India to productively employ about 10 million additional people that are joining the labor market with more education, with more training, it is very important that firms are willing to hire them and willing to operate at a much bigger scale than they are. And that's where the Indian problem is, that we don't allow separation is not easy. And so the new labor codes that have been notified has made one change, which has allowed firms which are they need to take permission if only they are employing more than 300 people. So that's an improvement from the 100 that used to be, but it's still a drop in the bucket. What we need is much bigger firms. So that's the sector that we have to really push. I mean, the kind of reforms we need to push. So I think, all of these things have to work backwards. You have to say what your goal is. And so I think the goal for India has to be a much larger set of factories and firms that are employing 2,000 people or more. And if that sector really, to grow to that size, all, capital owners, firm owners will say, I will only grow to that size if I can hire and fire easily. Otherwise, I just don't want to get in there. So the 300 really doesn't cut it. I mean, if you have to get there, you have to move it at least that, you have to raise this bar up to 1,000, if not to 2,000, that, up to that point you can hire and fire. I think that's, the 300 that has been introduced, I think is too little. It has to be much, much bigger. It has to, they have to ramp it up to, as I said, either 1,000, preferably even 1,000 or preferably 2,000. And I think that's possibly going to loosen up the hiring process, because we have a huge number of people who are joining the labor market, and at this point we cannot accommodate them all in low value-added gig worker jobs. It has to be large-scale manufacturing which can absorb these people. But that is contingent on these labor markets working. So until you introduce a much freer hiring and firing policy, we're not going to get there. So we just have to, work hard on that.